everybody, welcome to beginner Pilates session lesson number 6. So we're going to add some more progressions to it today. If you do find this is still a little bit too hard, go back to the previous lessons. You can do each lesson as many times as you like until you feel ready to move on to the next one. So we're going to go through the setup first. Feet hip width distance, knees soft, and stand nice and tall. Wiggle the fingers and toes. And a couple of shoulder shrugs to take your shoulders back and down. Bringing your pelvis into neutral, so a few pelvic tilts if you need to, until you find the midpoint. So your hip bones and pubic bone should be in line. Engage your tummy muscles to hold that position, so if necessary, pull them in as tight as you can. Release them halfway, and then just a little bit more. So taking them to that 30% position. Engage your pelvic floor. And a couple of deep breaths just to remind you to breathe into the ribs. Feeling your rib cage expand and feeling it reduce. So deep breath in and out. Try and keep those deep breaths going. Relax your arms down and take a few seconds just to stand tall, allowing your spine to lengthen and your shoulders to relax. Gently turning the head from side to side, moving your head smoothly and slowly. Chin parallel to the floor. Coming back to the center, dropping your chin to the chest, drawing it back up, down again, and back up. Moving into the shoulders. Rolling them forward, both together. Try and keep your hands on your thighs, so just concentrating on the shoulders. And change direction. And squeeze the shoulder blades together. Adding the arms, breathing in and out. Big controlled circles. Moving slowly once more. And change direction. Breathe in and out. One more time. And down into side bends. So one hand to the hip, other arm out. Big stretch. Reaching up and over and back. Weight stays even through both feet. And stretch and lengthen through the arm. So trying to open up the space between the ribs and your hip. And repeat to the other side. So get reach, stretch up and over. Using the head to go a little bit further. And one more. And relax it down. Excellent. Okay, taking it into rotation, so arms out to the side, or you may want to put the hands across the chest or hold them in a Cossack position, or just elbows slightly bent. Number of positions to choose from, and then twist. So if you do struggle with your shoulders and find it hard to hold your arms out for a long period of time, bend your elbows. Bring them in to that Cossack position, supporting the sore shoulder on top of the underneath one. But trying to get that twist at the waist. And back to the center. Transferring your weight to one foot. We're going to take the other foot out, draw in, lift and replace. So out, in, lift and lower, out, in, lift and down. So focusing on the balance. If you're still finding you're a little bit wobbly, make sure you're using your tummy muscles. Have something to hang on to, whether it's your mantelpiece, chair, or work surface in the kitchen. And one more. So just lightly touching the toe to the floor. And change sides. So it goes out, in, lift, and replace. So you may find one side's a little bit more wobbly than the other. Don't lift the leg quite so high. Keep the foot low to the floor. So touch, in, lift and down. One more, out, in, lift and down. Excellent. Give the legs a little bit of a shake. So just a few heel raises just to finish off your warm-up. Get some movement into all those little joints in your feet. So tummy in, make sure you're in neutral. Breathe in, lift your heels and breathe out lower. Keeping in control of your ankles, don't let them roll. Breathing in as you lift, out as you lower. And then just adding a little gentle rock as you lift the toes. Then back up onto the toes, heels down. Lift the toes. So creating more movement into the feet, but making the front of your shins, the top of your feet work as you lift your toes. So you lift your toes, avoid sticking your bum out like that. Try and lift your heels and then the toes. So keep in control the whole time. And last one. And relax. Give your legs a bit of a shake. So to get you down onto the mat, into your roll down. So feet parallel, knees soft. Tummy in. Take a breath in as you breathe out, dropping your chin to the chest and slowly bend. Taking your time, let your head hang, let your arms relax and hang. Breathing in at the bottom, long breath out. Use your tummy and draw yourself slowly back up to standing. Relaxing the shoulders, lifting the chin and repeat. Long breath out. Remember, just go to the point that feels comfortable. You might find now that you're getting a lot closer to the floor, but that really is not important. The important bit is that you get the movement into your spine. So drawing the tailbone under, rebuilding your spine slowly. Lift the head right at the end, bringing it back onto the top of your spine. And again, chin to the chest, slowly bend. Breath in at the bottom, long breath out. Again, keep the knees soft, use your tummy and pull yourself slowly back up to standing. Last time, this time adding a hamstring stretch. So slowly down, finding a point that's comfortable to hold. Stay there, straighten the legs, then just let your body relax and hang. Let your head hang. If you can touch the floor, you might want to fold your arms. But if you can't touch the floor, don't worry, just let your arms relax and hang. Hold and breathe. Nice deep breaths. And then coming down onto your mat, onto hands and knees. So we're going to do a little exercise on hands and knees today called threading the needle, which is about rotating your upper back. So this is for rotation in your thoracic spine, which is the part of the spine that your ribs attach to. This helps improve posture. So try and keep your feet relaxed, hips above the knees. Place the back of one hand onto your mat. Slide it through underneath the supporting arm, following the hand with your eyes. So you're twisting from the waist. Breathe in and breathe out. Bring it back. Replace it to the mat. Change sides. So thread it through. Breathe in. Breathe out slowly. Come back and replace. And change. So follow the hand with your eyes. Using that arm to pull the shoulder down, supporting arm soft, don't lock out. Aim for roughly 5 to each side, if you can. But quickly check that your hips are not drifting back, so you don't want to be in this position. Try and keep your hips above your knees. Last 2. And back in. Last time. Breathe out. the knees and stretch into child pose. Okay, coming forward onto your tummy, we're going to move into a swan dive. So in lesson 5, we had the hands either side of the mat, nice and wide, legs relaxed. If you found that was quite tough, you might want to go back to arms down by your sides. However, if you're managing quite well, let's see if we can progress it a little bit more. So forehead on the floor, chin tucked in, tummy in. So a few basic ones to start with. Breathe in as you breathe out, light pressure through the hands, lift the chest, hold, breathe in lower. Keeping your chin tucked in, breathe out, lift, and breathe in lower. When you feel up to it, try lifting the arms, just letting them hover off the mat and lower back down. Arms are surprisingly heavy things when they're above your shoulders. Be aware that your elbows are not creeping back down here. Try and keep them level with your armpit. Legs relaxed if possible. If necessary, bring them together to give you more stability. Breathe out and breathe in. Now, if you do want to make it a little bit harder, we're going to try and move the arms a little further above your head. So lift and lower. Then just inch the hands a little bit further up. Repeat. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And relax. Now you're aiming to feel these muscles working. If it's still pinching a little bit down here, you might need to go back to keeping the arms here or popping them down by your sides. You might need to go back to squeezing. That tends to make the glutes work a little bit more, takes the pressure off the lower back. Whew. You need to release your back after all that, so push back up onto hands and knees into your cat stretch. So arching your spine, nice big stretch. And then take it the other way. And look up. Very carefully move from one position to the other. So focusing on that spinal mobilization. And breathing out as you change positions. Coming back down onto your tummy, but onto your elbows this time. So tuck the elbows in, so getting them underneath your shoulders, hands in front of you, one on top of the other. We're going to do a new exercise in this lesson, which is called a leg pull. You will see as time progresses why it's called a leg pull, but it's like your plank or half plank in yoga. We're only going to do 3 levels today. You don't have to do all 3 because it's quite a toughie. Engage your tummy, keep your chin tucked in so you look at the backs of your hands. Breathe in, breathe out, and just lift your hips off the mat. Might only be a couple of centimeters, that's okay. If it pulls across your back, you need to come back down. Try again, means you're not ready for that level or this exercise, or you've not used your core. So again, try pull navel to spine. Remember, you're fighting against gravity, and lift and hold. Relax the shoulders and just look at your hands. If you're finding it's okay, want to come up a little higher, just lift up onto the knees, but keep your spine in neutral. If you think, oh no, that's too much, come back down onto your thighs. However, if you've got up there and feel quite happy, try tucking your toes under and lifting your knees. It's important that your bum is not up here, that hurts your back. If you drop it down, tuck the tail under, a little pelvic tilt puts the work into your abs. And then relax it down. Oh, quite a toughie. Press back into child pose to release. Oh, come into sitting position. So how long you hold that plank position for is up to you. You might want to build it up, but I wouldn't go for anything more than a minute, minute and a half at the most. Build it up gradually, can take months to get up onto the toes. Okay, let's get you onto your back. So come into the sitting position, arms out in front if you can, tilt and roll slowly all the way to the mat. Have a stretch if you need to, or just bring yourself into your neutral position. So shoulders back and down. Have a feel, make sure you're neutral, so your hip bones and pubic bone should be level. Little hollow in the small of your back. So we're going to go into the 100. Hands down by your sides. Whew. So get my breath back a little bit after doing the leg pull. So tummy in, breathe in as you breathe out, floating one leg up into tabletop. Hold. If and when you can, bring the other one up beside it. And breathe. 10 long, slow breaths. Now remember, in lesson 4 and 5, we were adding a little abdominal curl. You could lift and hold it for the full 10 breaths, or you could still keep going up and down with each breath. Helps you count the breaths. Or you could just try and relax the upper body, press your shoulders back and down. Make it more challenging by bringing your legs together, lifting your feet and extending your legs. Focus on here, watch for the spine arching, tummy wanting to pop up, press the ribs down so you're working into these muscles and these muscles. If you start to shake, bend your knees back to tabletop. Another option would be to take your knees away and just let your feet drop. Again, that's challenging your neutral spine. You might feel that the spine again is starting to arch, in which case bring the knees back in. It's just a small movement, just enough to challenge. Watch the knees are not here. Make sure you get that vertical line from knee to hip. When you've done your 10 breaths, come down gently. You can try a few positions through it. You don't have to stay still for 10 breaths, but you can if you want to. Full body stretch when you're finished. Okay, coming back into neutral position. So we're going to go into scissors next. So scissors we did in lesson 5 towards the end of the session. As I've said before, this is my favorite exercise. The 100 and the scissors and single leg stretch and double leg stretch, which we've touched on, form the part of the 5 main exercises that work your powerhouse. So these core muscles. As you progress, we join those exercises together to concentrate the work into your abs. At this level, let's have a breather between each one. So we're going from 100 into scissors. To remind you of the movement, lift one leg into tabletop. You've got a right angle at the hip, right angle at the knee. Moving from the hip only, lower the leg down without extending from the knee and lift it back up. So that is your basic scissor movement. It's a hammer action from your hip. Breathe out as it goes down. Breathe in as you lift back up. You can do a few with one leg and then change legs and keep alternating. So say 5 or 6 repetitions with each leg, or if you feel up to it, lift both legs and alternate. So you're forming that scissor action from your hips. Quite a challenging exercise. pull in from here, press your ribs down, don't let the spine arch. If you feel your spine is arching and you're struggling or it's painful, pop your feet back down, go back to singles. You can use your hand if you're not sure where the legs need to be. Breathe out as it goes down, in as it comes up, using the hand to stop the leg coming past your hip, or just relax the shoulders and your arms down by your sides. Aim for roughly 10, 12 repetitions on each side if you can. That sounds an awful lot, build up to it slowly. So you might have thought I've had enough by now. Have a breathe out. You could try flexing your feet. Take your heels rather than your toes to the mat. Gives you a little bit further to go. So really challenges your abs. You should feel it a little bit lower down. Last two. And last one. And then replace the feet down and stretch it out. Big stretch. Push the back into the mat. Oh, really feel like you've been working in here. Fab. Excellent. Okay, let's do side kicks onto your side. Coming up onto the bony part of the hip, use your arm as a pillow, hand on the floor in front. Make sure when you look down, you can see your toes. So, when you're ready, engage your tummy, squeeze your legs together, breathe out and lift both legs off the mat. And hold and breathe. Nice deep breaths. If and when you can, take your hand to your thigh and then float it up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to stop the hand there so the wrist is immediately above your shoulder. Keep stretching through both legs. Now we're going to challenge your balance today by rotating that arm. Little circles, as if drawing circles on the ceiling with your fingers. Don't make the circle too big. As you circle the arm, you'll feel how your body weight wants to move. Keep checking your legs are tight together. Change direction and breathe. Nice and slowly. Don't let the bottom leg lift. Keep pulling the tummy in. Use your pelvic floor for this. Makes a big difference. Replacing your hand to the floor. Keep the legs in the air. If you need to put the bottom leg down for a little breather while we do thigh raises, you can. Or you can keep it lifted. So this time we're going to lift the top leg, pointing the toes to lift, flexing to lower. Point and lift, flex and lower. Point and lift, flex and lower. Breathe out to lift, breathe in to lower. One more. Now repeat, lifting with the foot flexed and point to lower. Flex and lift, point and lower. Remember, it doesn't have to be high, might only be a few inches. Check you're not rolling back onto your buttock. Try and keep your hips stacked. So working the outside of the leg. Last one. And come down gently. Resting the leg forward into recovery position. Give the hip a bit of a rub if necessary. Moving into your lateral thigh opener. We have done this one in 3 and 4. Line up your heels with your tailbone, hand to your hip. I think it was 4 and 5 actually, do beg your pardon. Pressing your hip towards your heels, keep your feet together. Gauge your tummy, breathe out and lift your top knee. Breathe in lower. Nice and slowly, take your time. 10 repetitions, out to lift, in to lower. Again, keeping your pelvis still. Imagine you have a wall here. You might even want to try doing it with your back against a wall. That certainly let you know which part of your body is moving. The only bit moving should be your leg within your hip joint. Now if you find it's a bit nippy or you do have sore hips, don't lift so high. Keep it small. 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. Excellent. Now we're going to add a little bit more. This is a tiny, tiny movement. Don't try and be enthusiastic about it. We're going to lift the whole leg, keeping it bent, but only to bring your knee and second toe in line with your hip, and then lower back down. Tiny, tiny movements. So the only thing moving is my leg. My pelvis is not hitching. It's not rolling forward or back. Try and keep hips stacked, and only 5 little lifts. So 4. Really starts to burn, and rest. Excellent. Give it a rub. Quad stretch to release it. And relax. Let's do the same on the other side. So up onto the bony part of the hip, stretch your legs out, use your arm as a pillow. Make sure you can see your toes when you look down, so you're slightly hinged at the hip. Hand on the floor in front. When you're ready, engage your tummy, pelvic floor, squeeze your legs together and lift, pointing the toes, and hold and breathe. If and when you can, take the hand to your thigh. Draw that shoulder down, float the arm up. Stopping the arm so the hand is immediately above your shoulder, and rotate. Little circles, so challenging your balance, moving the arm slowly. Breathe through it. The slower you move, the harder it is. And change direction. Nice slow movements. Keep squeezing the legs together. Keep breathing. Bringing the hand back down. Replace it to the mat. Keeping the legs lifted. You can bend the bottom one, put it down if you're struggling. But pointing the toes, lift, flex and lower. Point and lift, flex and lower. Breathe out to lift, in to lower. 1 more. Keeping the foot flexed, repeat. Point to lower. Flex and lift. Point and lower. Remember, it doesn't have to be massive. Just watch the hips are not rolling backwards. Try and stay right upon the hip. So working on the outside of the leg. And then relax it down. Well done. Rest it forward if necessary. So 2 sets of 5 there. Okay, into your lateral thigh opener. Bend your knees. Line up the heels with your tailbone. Hand on the hip. Push your hip to your heels. Keep your feet together as you breathe out. Lift your top knee. Breathe in as you lower. This is the bit to focus on. Don't let your pelvis roll backwards. Now you can easily see that my left side is so much more flexible than the right. The knee comes up much higher. Aim for 10. Again, you could try putting your bum against the wall. Line your feet against the wall, knees bent, to make sure you're not rolling. Or use your hand. Put that little bit of pressure against your buttocks so that the pelvis doesn't roll as you lift the knee. Again, if you have sore hips, be gentle. Keep it tiny. Just coming to there will still work the muscles without putting pressure into your hip. This is really good exercise if you struggle with your knees, especially if you feel pain as you walk down the stairs or down a hill. This will help strengthen the outside of the leg to protect the knee joint. Okay, 1 more I think. And down. So keeping the legs in that position, hand to the hips so you make sure your pelvis doesn't move. Lift the whole leg. Breathe out and in. Remember, tiny, tiny movement. Don't lift too high. You're aiming to line up your second toe, your kneecap to your hip bone. Remember, your hip bone is here, not here. I often see people wanting to bring the legs right up here. Don't. We want deep muscles to work. So that's the small, slow movement that gets in touch. Let's go for one more. And relax. Excellent. Give it a rub. One stretch to release. And relax. Push yourself up into a sitting position. We're going to do a little bit of spine twist today. So we did spine twist right back in lesson 1. We're going to revisit spine twist. So you can sit cross-legged, getting right up onto your sit bones. If that's uncomfortable, you could do soles of the feet together, knees out, having plenty of space between your groin and your heels. Or, little progression, take the legs wide and out in front. Slightly wider than your hips, not as wide as they'll go, but don't have them together. That makes it a little bit hard. Sit up nice and tall. So again, you want to be sitting right up on the sit bones, shoulders above your hips. If you struggle in this position and you feel like you're starting to roll back, make sure you sit on something. So a rolled up towel, a thick book, a small stool, or the edge of a chair will do. So we did do that option before, which was basically to keep your head still. So if you I'll turn sideways, then you can see me a bit better. Put your hands together so your thumbs are on the breastbone, chin's resting on your middle 2 fingers. Breathe out, twist. Breathe in, straight. Keeping the legs still, keeping your hips still. So if it feels too much, you could go back to bent legs. So if you're feeling it in your lower back, bend your knees, or go back to cross-legged. So a progression would be the arms out to the side into crucifix and twist. You're not trying to go very far, so don't try to look around a corner. Just bring your nose level to the knee if you're cross-legged, but you're only trying to twist your torso to about a 30-degree angle from the front, not 90 degrees. Your spine won't go that far. Keep your shoulders relaxed and your chest lifted. Imagine you're balancing a glass of wine on each shoulder, or glass of water, just in case you feel you're going to waste your wine. And again. And back to the center and relax. Bring the legs in to sit cross-legged, or soles the feet together, knees out. We're going to do some arm and shoulder exercises in the sitting position. We have done some lying. We did, remember, open windows in lesson 5 and arm circles in lesson 3 or 4. Can't remember now. Anyway, we're going to do it in a sitting position. Take your arms out to the side. If you feel you want to work harder, you could have a couple of hand weights or a couple of cans of baked beans, just to make it a little bit more of an effort for your arms. So sit up tall, shoulders above the hips. The first one we're going to do is called hug a tree. So you breathe out, wrap your arms around an imaginary tree, and breathe in, open. Nice and slowly. Now, as your arms are moving forward and back, you may well be aware of your body wanting to join in. So as your arms come forward, you might feel your pelvis tilt back, and as you take them back, it tilts forward. So to stop that from happening, you need to engage those tummy muscles, but also engage your pelvic floor. So pull your pelvic floor up as you open and close the arms. It makes such a difference to that stability. You won't feel everything moving quite so freely. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Now I know arms are really heavy. Do as many as you feel capable. If it's starting to hurt across the top of your shoulders, do rest and joining in when you feel up to it. Now let's take your arms back out, turn the palms up and then rotate little circles. Breathe through it, concentrate on the breathing, keep your chest lifted, shoulders down, because this can be quite tough. Change direction. Keep breathing. Nice deep breaths. Again, use the pelvic floor. Keep the pelvis still as you circle your arms. Stretch them out to the side. And relax it down. Well done. Bring the feet in to sit cross-legged and a mermaid stretch to release. So take one arm up and over and back and to the other side. And release. Lovely. Let's turn sideways. Let's do your half roll-ups next. So feet flat, hip width distance apart. Go back to the easy option if you want to. It's nice to go back to the basic one. It helps build up that work in your abs so that when you get to the end result, it's much easier. Going straight into a full roll-up at this point can be quite tough, so it's good to build those muscles up gently. Hands behind your knees, sit up straight, tilt the pelvis, the spine goes into that C-curl, roll back till you stretch your arms. Hold, breathe in, breathe out, round forward, and sit up straight. Breathe in, tilt, roll back, hold, breathe in, breathe out, round forward, and sit up straight. Harder option, arms out in front. Go back to the point that feels manageable. Breathe in, breathe out, round forward. Restack, and again. And back up. You might be feeling a little bit more adventurous. Try and see if you can go all the way down and take your arms over your head. Breathe in, float them up, tuck in the chin, breathe out and round up and sit up straight. If you got so far and thought that's not happening, don't worry, go back to just going halfway. Slowly down, arms over your head. Breathe in, lift the arms up first, breathe out, tuck in the chin. Press your back into the mat, round up, sit up straight. Trying not to let your feet lift. Don't straighten the legs. Keep your knees bent the whole time. The whole point is to use those abdominals. Press your lower back into the mat. So the arms come up first, tuck in the chin. Press your lower back down. Use your tummy, round up, and sit up straight. Shall we try one more? If you're struggling, don't worry, this is not everybody's favourite exercise. Can be a bit of a nemesis. It did take me 4 years to be able to do it. So don't worry. I've known people who've been doing Pilates with me for years that still can't do it. It's just the shape of their body, nothing to do with their lack of core strength. It's just that they've got a very accentuated lordosis, which is the hollow in the lumbar spine. When you finish, stretch your legs out. Remember your spine stretch. Go forward into that stretch. Pull the toes towards you. And release. And again, lift up and stretch. And release. Once more, lift up and stretch. Watch the knees don't lift, keep them nice and straight. And come out of it gently. Bend your knees, lower yourself all the way down to the floor and stay there this time. Ready for your bridges. We need to bend your body back the other way. So bring your feet in a little bit closer to your hips, hands by your side. Checking you're in neutral, breathe in, tilt the pelvis, press your back into the mat. Squeeze your buttocks, slowly lift up into bridge, hold. Breathe in, take both arms over your head, leave them there, breathe out and roll down slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Pushing your lower back into the mat, rolling your pelvis back to neutral, and then bring your arms back. And repeat. Squeeze to lift up, press the hips to the ceiling, arms up and over, and roll down slowly. Rolling back to neutral, and then bring your arms back. Keep going. If you want to, remember the progression we have done before. As you take your arms over, lift your heels. Do watch out for cramp. Keep your arms above your head. Roll down slowly. Pressing your lower back into the mat. Roll back to neutral. Heels down as your arms come back. Excellent. Let's go for 2 more. Peel up. Nice and tall. Push the hips up. Lift your heels. Arms over. And roll down slowly. Pressing your back into the mat. Rolling back to neutral. Arms back at the end. You might need to adjust your clothes. Last time. Long controlled breath out as you roll down slowly. Press your lower back into the mat. Roll your pelvis back to neutral. Heels down, arms back. Excellent, well done. Hip flexor stretch. Do release. So one knee in, extend the other leg out, flex the foot and hold. And change legs. Inner thigh stretch next. Pop the soles of the feet together, let your knees drop, one to each side, arms up and over. Bring the arms back, bring your knees together, arms out. We've done quite a bit of twisting today, so let's add a side stretch. Put your right foot across your left knee. Roll both legs to the right and your head to the left. Return to the center, change feet. So left ankle onto the right knee, so you hook the heel over the knee as you roll the hips to the side. Turn the head the opposite way, so you're relaxing into it. Keep your shoulder blades flat to the mat, let your ribs lift, let your hips roll. You might even get this leg flat to the floor, doesn't matter if you don't. Once more to each side. It's a lovely stretch, I love this one. Back to the center, last time. Come back to the center. Final stretch, right foot back onto your left knee. Either push the knee away with your hand or both hands through behind your thigh and gently pull. Head and shoulders relaxed if possible. Make sure you're pulling that knee towards your left shoulder, not twisting the body. That way you get a little bit more pull into your right hip. And release and change. Remember, you can do the easy option if you're still struggling with this one, which is just to push the knee away with your left hand. But if you can get into this position by now, go for it. It's a lovely stretch if you can get there. And then relax. Well done. Take a few minutes to relax. Coming into that relaxation position, which is your feet slightly wider than your hips. Hands onto the front of the hip bones to help relax the shoulders. And if you want to, close your eyes. So take a deep breath in, and with a long, slow breath out, relax. Scan around the body, make sure you're no longer holding on anywhere. So relaxing your shoulders, your arms, your hands, and your fingers. Relax your buttocks, so letting your hips sink down into the floor. Relaxing your thighs, your calves, and your feet. Let the head gently roll from side to side. Relaxing your jaw. And breathe normally now. Allowing yourself to sink down into the floor. Try not to focus on anything in particular, just being aware of your breath going in and out. And should any thoughts come into your mind, acknowledge them and then send them away. And just being aware of your breathing as the body breathes naturally in and out. When you feel ready to move, wiggle the fingers and toes. You can stay there a little longer if you want to. Switch me off and just relax. If you're happy to move, have a stretch. Full body stretch. Or you might want to do a knees to chest stretch. Have a little gentle roll. Rolling onto your side, push yourself up into a sitting position. Sitting still for a minute, don't jump to your feet too quickly. Hope you've enjoyed our set of 6 lessons of beginner Pilates. By the time you've got to this class or this session, you should be getting to the point where you're wanting to start and push yourself a little bit more. Your next move is to look for the improver classes, which we will start to put online in the next few days. The improver is the class that's in between your beginner and your intermediate. Lots more progressions, a little bit more challenging. Take your time, don't rush into them. You need to give your body time to strengthen. If you're thoroughly enjoying our classes, which I hope you are, please do click on the subscribe button, which is just below this video. The more subscriptions we get, the better, the wider we go with our classes. We do have some short videos that last about 10 to 15 minutes. You can always add to this if you want to add some variety. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye.